The first of the atmospheric Astorias was completed in 1929 on a big triangular corner site in Stockwell Road, Brixton. Publicity for the cinema boasted that it was designed to hold 4,500 people, making it the biggest cinema at that time in Britain. In the event, compliance with fire regulations dictated a maximum seating capacity of 2,982. The main facade, which today looks exactly the same as when it was built, is in green and cream terracotta, with an ambitious copper-covered semi-dome over the main entrance lobby. It dominated the townscape. There were few more satisfactory sites in suburban London than that occupied by the Brixton Astoria, which was situated only a few yards from what, in 1929, was one of the finest shopping centres in South London. The exterior of the theatre gave consideration to the publicity signs that had to be accommodated. As far as was possible, these were incorporated into the design of the elevation. A distinguished appearance was given to the facade by the use of faience in two colours, and the introduction of a copper dome 35 feet in diameter, finished in sprayed bronze. Metal grills filled the spandrels over the dome, and on each side were piers with raised panels for poster frames. They were also treated in sprayed bronze. Near the top of the piers were metal flagpoles, the bases of which were surrounded by gilded wrought iron balconies. Around the frieze was an electric sign, and over the dome a sign panel had been erected with interchangeable letters. The name Astoria on the topmost pediment was a visible landmark from a long distance. The main entrance doors were flanked by square pillars, on each side of which were publicity frames treated with bronze cellulose finish. The original plans for the Brixton Astoria show a building quite different from that which was actually built. The original drawings bear a great resemblance to the first Astoria at Charing Cross Road. The change of design is probably explained by a desire to have the entrance face the main shopping area in the High Road. Even the interiors of Charing Cross Road and Brixton were similar. This may mean that Tommy Summerford and Ewan Barr were not engaged to be the interior designers to Arthur Siegel's Astoria circuit until plans for the Brixton Theatre were well advanced. The auditorium was on the open forum plan, with Italianate garden scenes around the walls. Formerly, the Rialto Bridge proscenium arch had figures moving across it to complete the effect, and the opening publicity about the theatre coined the phrase, "an acre of seats in a garden of dreams." 5 pairs of doors gave entrance to the inner lobby. The stalls were reached through a foyer, in the centre of which used to be a mosaic fountain with water pouring from 4 masks. Approach to the balcony was from 2 staircases which led to a mezzanine floor with an open well surrounded by a balustrade. This was the former cafe and tea lounge area, which used to be complete with soda fountain, chocolate and cigarette kiosks, and an ice water drinking fountain. The projection suite was between the circle and stalls, inside the circle wedge. This gave a level throw to the screen. The projection area included a rewind room, resistance chamber, a non-sync room, and also a room for the sound equipment. The whole of the atmospheric treatment of the auditorium was best viewed from balcony level, where patrons could look down at the monumental doorways and pergolas dripping with plaster vines, ahead to the flattened miniature of the Rialto along the top of the proscenium arch, and sideways to the walls topped with statues under the Lombardy poplars. All this was seen against the blue sky of the heavens. Stylistically, the Astoria was a blend of Egyptian and classical motifs. It was the auditorium of the theatre that was of particular interest. The audience were given the impression of sitting in an Italian garden. It even had a specially designed carpet to represent a beautiful lawn, with the runners to the promenades and gangways woven in the pattern of crazy paving. This was copied from an example in E.A. Stone's own garden at Chislehurst. The seats had upholstery designed as scattered autumn leaves woven into a background of gold. Above the huge plain dome of the ceiling, lighting machines gave the morning, noon and night effects, and the projectors produced the scudding clouds. There was brilliant sunshine by day, and soft moonlight and twinkling stars by night. The lighting perfected the illusion conveyed by the decorative treatment of the walls and proscenium. The proscenium was flanked on each side by tall cypress trees, and the side walls were adapted from the great Italian masterpieces in the Colonna Palace. These gave the impression of a terraced garden approached through graceful colonnades. On each side were two towers, one of which housed the pipes of the Compton organ. At the side of this was a fountain, reminiscent of the Villa d'Este on Lake Como. Another feature was a number of statues in the alcoves, many of which were reproductions of world-famous originals from the chief museums of Europe. The towers were connected by the bridge which ran over the top of the proscenium arch. Entrance to a little balcony was gained by wrought iron gates, and on this balcony and bridge, members of the chorus appeared during the staging of the musical excerpts that were part of the Brixton Astorias programme. From the balcony, the whole expanse of the sky and the other architectural features were visible, with the trailing grapevines, stately cypresses, and luminous pines, all in high relief. The stage was bigger than that of the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. It had a full depth of 54 feet and was 100 feet wide. The proscenium opening measured 57 feet. The Astorias orchestra and organ were under the direction of Fred Kitchen, and the Compton organ had two consoles, one in the pit and a movable one on stage. Two organists could then play in tandem. The Astoria opened on the 19th of August 1929 with L. Jolson in The Singing Fool, and closed as a cinema on the 29th of July 1972. After the Astoria closed, it was converted into a sundown venue for pop concerts, dancing, and occasional film shows. This was not successful, and the building was closed again in January 1973. The future of the Astoria has been in doubt ever since, and much of the plasterwork has been mutilated. But in November 1988, it is open as a pop music venue in a most difficult area of London.